society will shut you off if you're different. And that's what's so beautiful about how Ellie makes a new family for herself.
It is a joy today to be speaking to Sophie Nelisse and Caroline Dhavernas. Thank you both so much for the time. I really do appreciate it.
Thank
You're
you for
very
having
welcome.
us.
Ellie and her monster team is so sweet. It is such a joy. The film is has so much heart to it and is an absolute delight. What was it that excited you both to be a part of it?
I think for me, it was like my first time doing animation, like a full feature. And that was very exciting. I think I found that I'd always wanted to do animation because it sounds often very lighthearted and joyful and I grew up watching them, so I've always been wanting to do full circle and be able to pro do movies for a younger audience. And yeah, and I found it very pleasant to shoot, and hopefully I'll get to do some more.
For me, I started doing dubbing when I was 8 years old for animated and also fiction, and I hadn't done animation in a while. And I was very excited also to do something that I could show my daughter because all the dramatic stuff that I've done, like Hannibal, for example, cannot be shown for many, many years to come. And so, yeah, it was just very freeing to be able to play something that's very far away from who I am in every single way. A big, hairy, extroverted Yeti is pretty much the farthest thing that I can play from who I am and what I do. So yeah, it was really fun. And at the end of the day, it just felt like I let out things that I don't often, let out, and it was really fun.
But do you like tea? That's the question.
I'm
Yeah.
a fan of tea, so that
Strawberry
was easy.
and kind of
Not
tea.
a sweet
Mm.
tea girl. No, I prefer green tea, but yeah.
See, there's a connection right there. There you go. That's No, honestly, your characters are so lovely, and I love how they interact with one another. I mean, Caroline, you sort of brought that, but I was wondering how you both connected with them. Like, do you how you whether you saw them as partial or whether you felt a connection with them, that you saw similarities with yourself or not. As you had said, it could be furthest away from you that you could be.
I mean, I think I related to Ellie a lot. I think she has such a naive way of seeing life, and I think I tend to maybe be a little bit like that, where I see the best in people and kind of just want a utopic world where everyone loves each other and lives in peace with each other. And um I will say she, comes from a very sheltered life and has never really explored anything other than her mansion. And I think this whole journey is just gonna completely change her. And yeah, and I think, very similarly to her, I tend to learn a lot from the people that surround me. I think they forge who I am and um they shape the person that I am today. And I think that's exactly what's gonna happen to Ellie.
I think what I liked about Martha is her very warm, and she's like the aunt, that you want to have in your family. And there's something very, come on, dear, let's have some tea. There's something that I feel like you can't really have in real life because it sounds a bit cheesy somehow, but she let me, have that for a couple hours, which is amazing. And I forget what your question was, honestly. Was it?
Well, how you connect with her, how you
Yeah.
connect with Martha. Do you feel like Martha's a part of you, or is
Of
she
course.
polar opposite?
She's both. She got me to go places that I don't really let myself go to that easily, but they're in there. They're inside me. So that's what's so fun about it. It's encouraged all of a sudden to let it all out instead of trying to tame that.
Well, you know what? It's interesting that you make that comment because one of the things I love about this film, specifically with Ellie, is a conversation of emotions.
Mm.
Because so much of the beginning of the film, it feels like Ellie is being told to just sort of keep things in, and she's got this power that's in her anger. And I
Mhm.
was wondering how you felt about that, Sophie, and whether or not you see that as a strength of hers.
I definitely see it as a strength of hers, and I think that's a key message of the movie is that we all have our faults and our differences, and I think we tend to want to suppress or um not acknowledge and to yeah, we don't tend to like the parts of ourselves that we consider as bad, but I don't think there are bad parts of us. I just think we have to learn to channel them into something positive. There are ways to utilize your anger because anger is, can drive determination, can drive a lot of strength. And I think that there are many benefits to having all that rage inside of you if you convey it into something good. Um, and so I think that's exactly what we're trying to showcase through Ellie at the beginning. She can't contain all of that anger, but at the end, she's able to turn it into something that will eventually save a bunch of lives.
Absolutely, absolutely. It really is uh, neat to see that part of her journey, how she's able to focus that for sure. And I wanted to ask you both too about a word that keeps popping up in the film, and that's normal. Normal in this film is used in a really unique way, I think, in the sense that there's this definite fear of anything that lies outside of what they deem as normal. Whoever, I think it opens with Ellie saying that they always thought that the monsters were the normal ones. And I was wondering for you both, why do you think that we fear anything that is outside of what we would see as normal?
Well, the consequence of not being normal is clearly stated in this movie. Drones will come and capture you. And that's what I think the fear is, it's exposed in a very extreme way in the film, but I think that's how we feel inside, is society will shut you off if you're different. And that's what's so beautiful about how Ellie makes a new family for herself of people who are just as different as she is. They're all different. They get along because they don't really fit in anywhere else and they accept themselves for, as they are between each other. And that's a family because you can have blood ties and be with a family that doesn't accept who you are, or you can choose your family, your friends, and have an even closely, like a closer knit family than you would with your blood ties.
Well, and actually, that was exactly where I wanted to go with this too, is because for the nature of family in this, it's very interesting because the film opens and Ellie is told by her uncle, "We're not even family." And it's sort of this shocking thing for her.
Yeah.
But in the end, they have to sort of discover what that word means in this particular world. And I would love to hear from you both what the word family means to you. Is it just blood or is it relationships?
I mean, I think for me it's relationships. I will say I'm extremely close to my family. Like they're my best friends and they will always be the people I will gravitate to and support and like defend with my life. But I know the privilege that I have to be able to count on those people and to have that close relationship with them. And I'm very aware that it's not everyone that's as fortunate as me. And so I do think that for a lot of people out there, family is who you choose it to be. It could be friends, it could be a partner, relate like it doesn't also we have this idea that family is like someone you're so very close to, but like family can also just be like a sense of community. Like people that go, I mean, it's a random example, but like people that go to the gym find a sense of family and like working out with like a group or um yeah, I think it's broader than family. I think it's about a community. And ultimately having a family is just having a circle that makes you feel less lonely, I think, and less isolated. That's all
Mhm.
that matters.
I'm also close to my family, and I feel like they shaped the human being that I became, but then my friends shaped the grown-up that I became.
Mm.
And they're a very important family. And had I met other friends, I would have probably not been the same person that I am today. I have a very, very good friends that I've been, close to for a long time, and they're wonderful human beings, and they're really part of my life family too. So yeah, it's a big word, but I think there are many possibilities.
I love how this film opens the door for those conversations, right? There's some real there's actual love between these characters in a beautiful way, I think is pretty special. Um, Switching gears, I wanted to hear from you both because you've both been in some incredible projects, of course, and Sophie, you were talking about Hannibal, and or Caroline, you talked about Hannibal, Sophie, Irina's Vow, which I loved as well. Um, but now you're in a room recording your vocals, and I was wondering whether that was what type of challenge, or whether that was a challenge for you to do, is to bring animation to life, because I know it's a very different style of acting and performance.
Yeah, for me it's yeah, definitely something I'm not accustomed to, but I think it's it's part of the art, and I think I loved it because I find a lot of freedom and liberty in doing that. Um, I'm used to having to act in a way that's very contained, and very much in like what happens with my face.
Mm.
And this is completely different because I mean, obviously this movie has a lot of physicality to it. And so I enjoyed being able to like move my body in like a very emphasized way and being able to be a bit more broad with my acting
Mhm.
um and just yeah, have more freedom to be able to use different kinds of voices and it just has to be bigger and more emphasized for the audience to fully understand the emotion behind what is only like a voice instead of using your face that is usually so helpful to me.
Mhm.
So it was a challenge, but one that I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah, I agree. When you do a character in animation, the physicality exists outside of you, and you have to match that. In my case, it was a big hairy yeti, but it could be anything. And so, yeah, it's so fun to step outside of what you, because yeah, we're always asked to do something very natural, right? And believable. And you can't really go too big with animated characters. And that's why it's so liberating, I
Mm.
think. Yeah.
That's it. That's interesting because, obviously in terms of performance, like you hear stories of people like bringing in the physicality of their characters into their performance. But in this particular case, you're doing it with, are you matching it up with what's already on screen? Are they matching it up to your vocals?
We had to match what was on screen. Yeah.
Exactly. An actor or someone had done the voices, and so we had a reference. Yeah, and the character was had already been drawn and was in movement. Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's awesome. That's really cool. Um, Honestly, the film is an absolute joy from start to finish. It is so sweet, so fun. What is it that you hope people take away from Ellie and her monster team?
I hope they're able to like identify with every single character. I think they're all so unique and different, but they all have, their qualities, and I hope that everyone in the audience finds a little piece of themselves within these characters.
And I think one thing we should mention is that it's a Canadian
Mm.
co-production with Germany. And sometimes we don't know this until we really talk about it, because so much animation comes from elsewhere. And I think we're proud to say that this was made in part in Canada.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's something that doesn't get talked about enough. But for sure. Honestly, thank you so much for the time. Thank you to you both. I wish you the
You're welcome.
best. Absolutely. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.